Hi everybody, it's Fox with FoxeoGames, and this is a PC port probe of Nioh, obviously on the PC. Nioh came out recently, this year, for the PlayStation 4, and it was quite the hit, because it basically, in many ways, copied the Dark Souls formula, or at least the Souls formula in general. At the time, it was a PS4 exclusive, and as far as I can remember, there was no word of it coming to any other platform until just recently, when it was announced that a PC version of the game would be released. The PC version is called Nioh Complete Edition, which includes all the DLC, the 3 packages, as well as a Steam version unique piece of headgear, which I'm not wearing right here. I think I'm wearing it later on in this footage. So, the PC port, how is it? Well, it's from Koei Tecmo, so that should tell you that you should be very, very, very concerned. But fortunately, it's not too bad. There was an issue with the PC settings. There's a launcher when you launch the game, you know, kind of like with Skyrim or Fallout 4, and you can change the settings in there. I click OK. I'd go back into the settings menu. They were all reverted to default. I'd go back in, change them again, same thing. I had to actually launch the game, change the settings from within the game, then close the game out, go back into the launcher, change a couple more settings that only the launcher had, and then relaunch the game, and it appears that it finally stuck. I'm playing at 1080p, 60 frames per second, at the highest quality settings with all of the nice features turned on, except for the camera motion blur. I don't like motion blur. I think, do I get killed in this one? No, I died to my first fight with this guy because he killed me in 2 shots, flat out. But how's the performance? Let's cover that real quick first. Well, at max settings with camera motion blur off and 1080p, I was getting a solid 60 FPS pretty much everywhere I played. I played through the first entire tutorial area and the boss, as you can see here, and the first area where you get off the boat and run around. There's a lot of stuff there. There's some good long draw distances for the most part. It's a mission-based game. It's not a giant open world game. However, you will notice that there's a drop to 30 during cutscenes. That's because the cutscenes are recorded videos, so they're not actually being rendered live. They're just low-resolution videos. They do look bad, unfortunately. The game is 29 gigabytes to download on Steam, if I remember correctly, either 25 or 29, and it's 75 gigs once it's fully unpacked on your hard drive, so that is obviously ridiculous. There's just no reason a game like this should be that large. What are they trying to do, act like Square Enix? I almost called them Squaresoft. That's what it used to be back in the day. The game runs in DirectX 11, does not use any DirectX 12 features because it's not running DirectX 12. The settings are pretty limited. There isn't a lot. I'll put a little graphic on the screen to show you what's available in the launcher. You can change most of the launcher options in the game as well, although like I said, I had to restart the game to actually get stuff to save properly. Not sure if that was just a one-time issue or a consistent issue. You can lock the game to 30. I don't know why. You know, I guess you would lock it to 30 if you can't get a consistent 60 out of the game. Sometimes, if you're bouncing around from 30 to 50, it might actually be better to lock to 30 just for your eyes so you're not seeing all the weirdness and the jitteriness. You can play it up to 4K resolution, although I didn't test that. I'm running at a 1080p monitor, but that was an option on there. As I said, the cutscenes look pretty bad and only run at 30 FPS, but then again, they're pre-recorded, so you would expect them to be the same quality as the PS4, and they do appear to be. Big caveat here, guys. You pretty much absolutely need a controller. You can play keyboard only and control the camera with the keyboard, but there is 0 mouse support other than in the launcher window to change settings. Other than that, you cannot use the mouse at all, not even navigate the in-game menus. And when I was trying to go into the menus with the keyboard, I couldn't figure out how to select stuff. It's not Enter. Enter actually backs you out of the menu. Every button I hit either backed me out or did nothing, so I have no clue how to navigate the menus. It's really bad keyboard navigation, worse even than Dark Souls, and if you remember, that game had bad keyboard navigation as well. Like I said, no mouse support. You really want a gamepad. I'm using an X input controller, the Xbox One controller. I imagine the 360 works just as well. However, you may want to look into it if you have a third-party controller that doesn't use X input. Of course, you can always use an X input emulator. AAA, oh my gosh, AA, Anti-Aliasing, does appear to be weak. I'm not sure what type or how much there is, if at all. It doesn't look great if there is anti-aliasing, but it doesn't look terrible. I forced some anti-aliasing in the control panel, but didn't notice any difference. Not sure what that did. Anisotropic filtering, not available by default, but you can force it in your control panel for AMD or NVIDIA. And one of the other more disappointing things is that instead of having a lot of separate graphics options, it just has a general quality setting with a couple other things. So that's disappointing. Thankfully, we could get rid of motion blur, ambient occlusion, things like that you can control based on what you prefer. But overall, actually, this is a pretty good port. It's an excellent, excellent port for Koei Tecmo, which isn't saying much, but it overall is a very competent port. Does definitely look better than the PS4. You can play at up to 4K, 60 frames per second. At least on the system I'm running. You can see my specs in the video description. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames, and I will see you guys next time.